Hi, back again with another list because we all love lists, don't we? I got a little bit of a different setup here because I've got my little symbol in the back here. If you don't know what that is, check the description of the video below and you will find out exactly what that symbol means. Today in this video, I've got 13 because fuck 12, 13 is my lucky number and therefore I chose 13 because I couldn't leave 3 off the list. I wanted to do a top 10, but for the life of me, I just can't bring myself to do a top 10, so I'll do a top 13. And this 13 are 13 fragrances that I think that have traditionally been marketed for females, for women, that I think that men can wear pretty comfortably. Okay, now I've got a ton more female fragrances in my wearection, because I don't call it a collection, because I wear them all. But I think those are either too masculine, Shalimar, I'm looking at you, or that they are way too feminine and it takes a certain kind of man with a certain set of balls to be able to pull it off. So these ones are, you look at them as like a beginner's pack of if you wanted to smell different because you're wearing a women's fragrance, but at the same time still smell masculine enough to be a man. All right. Let's kick it off. Now, I've split these up into groups and I'll go through each one as I introduce them. So the first group is a group of 3 fragrances, female fragrances, that have been around for a while. And I call this the nostalgia group. I call this the nostalgia group because these are fragrances that I grew up smelling as a young boy, man, both. All right, I'm still a boy man. I'm still in here. I'm still a boy man. Okay, so we kick off with the first one. This one right here. This is awesome. This one is here. Focus on it. It's Rive Gauche by Yves Saint Laurent. Now this one came out in 1971, I think. I'm going to double check that as a matter of fact. Yeah, it did. It came out in 1971. Now, for this, comes in a tin can, which is really good. You can't there's no way that light can get in here. And if you kept it away from heat, then it would mean that this fragrance would last for a very, very long time without actually going off. But this one is from 1993, I think, this bottle, because this bottle, even though it's still being sold right now, has been reformulated, and all talk is that, and I have tested the new version and it's really not as good as the old version. Now, having said that, this is a fragrance that I grew up with. It was always present during my childhood growing up because this was the fragrance of my mother. So she had this as a signature scent. She had a whole bunch of other scents as well, but this one was always in the collection. It was also my dad's favorite on her as well. And I absolutely adore it. And I think that maybe back in the 70s or the 80s or something like that, you know, women could wear this and men were wearing, you know, things like Paco Rabanne pour homme or Armani Eau pour homme or Pinot Silvestre or something like that, or even Dracar Noir. But these days, you can pull this off. This is a very creamy, metallic, sharp sort of smell. It's got florals in it, but it's really all about those aldehydes that are up the top that give it sort of that metallic smell. And I think that this goes really well with a suit. Now, it's not like you need to dress this up as formal, but it is just clean and sharp, like a clean and sharp suit, right? So that's why I've got this on the list. And it's for a man. It's for a man. That's what it's for. So Rive Gauche is number 1 on this. And the first one in this nostalgia group. The next one I'll put that over here. The next one I want to talk about is this one right here. This is Dune by Christian Dior. And it is the original Dune. It's not Dune pour homme, it's just the original Dune. Focus on it. Good. Now, I've used up quite a bit of this as well because I used it up during the summer. You need to like jasmine for this one. I think this gives me this image of like hot sand, with some florals on a hot day. And I love wearing this in the summertime. I think I did include it as, you know, one of my summer 2022 in my video, whatever rotation. I might put a link. Maybe I won't. But anyway, this one I really enjoy as well. And this is another one that I grew up smelling in the 90s because it was one of my mum's ones. So I wanted to smell this again. And I thought, geez, you know, this is actually good enough for a dude like me right now. So I wore this throughout the summer and I absolutely adored it. That deep dry down when you get the hedione or the jasmine to sort of settle down a little bit and the spices sort of come to play. I think I need to probably put this away for now and let it sort of macerate. I've let enough air into the bottle now because this is a newer batch. It's not, this is probably about this one. Yeah, this is from 2015, this bottle. So it's well reformulated because this is from, original is from the 1990s. I think that I need to let it sit for like another year or so until the weather heats up again, and then I'll pull this out and wear it again, because I think that the spices, it was hinting at some spiciness coming through in the base, but it really stayed soapy and clean, and I really wanted to get that original Dune dirty spice that was coming through in the base of this, and I'm hoping that with a little bit more time that it will get there. But yeah, this is definitely one that a man can rock for sure. The next one, let me get a little bit of beverage. Oh yeah, coffee late at night. Yeah, this one is just pure nostalgia for me. This one because I'm pretty sure not many people have heard of this. If you haven't lived in Melbourne throughout the 90s, then there's no chance that you know about this fragrance because it's right here, this one. Get it closer to you, closer, closer. There it is, focus. And this is Christos. This is the Christos Woman fragrance. There was a Christos Man as well, but I've chosen Christos Woman because I do remember it fondly, and it's purple. And because it's purple plums, it's just purple, juicy, ripe, pulpy fruits. It's so nice. I had a bottle of the men's one when it was first released in 1998. Now this bottle's from 1998. Okay, it's from February 1998. Don't you love it when the batch code is actually the date? Oh wow. Yeah, so this one right here is very similar to the men's one. It's just that the men's one dries down to a more earthy sort of dry down. This one dries down to a more ambery, I think, and more fruity sort of dry down. But I think that given time, this was 1998, so we're well beyond that era. Given time, you can actually wear this now as a man. And I think it's hard to find, but if you can find it, this is quite the gem to have. So happy that I got a bottle of this, but I'm still searching for the men's one. It's probably rare as hen's teeth. I'll do a separate video on this, because this is one of the fragrances that I wore in the 90s and I want to do it justice. I want to talk about Christopher Coronis, the designer who actually released the men's and women's fragrance. He was a designer here from Melbourne and was super successful throughout like the 90s and the late 90s. But then as he released this, it sold out everywhere and his business went bust, so there was no second run. So it's really hard to find these, and they're still in really good condition, as a matter of fact. So happy that I've got that. So that's my 3 nostalgia fragrances right here, which is Rive Gauche, Dune by Christian Dior, and Christos by Christopher Coronis. Put those away, and then I'm going to go into my next 3, the batch of the next 3, which are going to be my fun fragrances. Yeah, so my fun fragrances. Now, I'm going to start off with this one. This is, I've talked about this heaps before. This is Versace. Versace by Versace. All right. Now, this is pretty cheap as a matter of fact. It is like a men's light citrus freshie, except it's got this note of olive leaf. and it just gives it the edge. It gives it a little bit of a difference, and I absolutely adore wearing this in the hot weather. You can see how much of it I've actually used up already. Quite a lot, quite a bloody lot, as a matter of fact. So I absolutely adore this. It's light, it's fresh, it's cool. And when it's really hot, I love wearing this because it actually makes me feel cooler. So all my peeps who are in the Northern Hemisphere right now, enjoying the hot weather, not jealous at all. You could definitely pull this one off. You can actually check this out. If you don't have it, get it. Because it's bloody everywhere and it's cheap as, and you could pretty much bathe yourself with it, which is technically what I do with this in the summertime. It's got pretty good longevity, especially if you spray it on clothes, but I absolutely adore this one. Versace's Versace. Fun in the sun. Next one in my fun in the sun category is one that a couple of my subscribers actually told me about early on, and they told me, hey, why don't you check out this? This is CK's Into You for her. Yeah, her. There it is. There she is. And again, I have used up a fair bit of this. You can see that. I pointed at you. There you go. I've used up a fair bit of this. This is a 50 ml bottle, which I picked up for 10 bucks. Which is, you know, like 10 Australian dollars, which is like, carry the one. It's like $2 in the States, or half a pound. Beautiful. Florals, a little bit of powder in here, and in terms of longevity, this is the only downfall. It doesn't actually last very long, which is pretty cool. That's fine with me because I can chuck it on, a couple of hours, smell nice, that's it. Have some fun. And it's a CK, and I think it's been discontinued because this was released maybe about 10 years ago now. And I think that this is better than the men's one, for sure. And it's definitely one that a man can rock, especially in the heat of the summer sun. So yeah, CK Into You, check this one out. The next fragrance, which I think is actually kind of fun, is probably a bit out of left field. It's this one right here. This is Tom Ford Noir. It's called Noir on here, but on the box it actually says, I'll get the box and I'll show you. It actually says Noir Parfum, right? Now, I don't know why, because the Noir Extreme of this, the Noir Extreme, which is, you know, the one that men sort of gravitate to, is pretty much identical to this one. It's just that that one dries down to more spicy, this one dries down to a bit more sweet. This one's slightly sweeter. And I don't mind it. Usually I don't like sweet fragrances, but I don't mind it in this because of the main note in here, which is that kulfi note. Now, kulfi is an Indian dessert. It's an Indian sweet based around pistachio. And most Indian sweets have this, to me anyway, the ones that I've tasted, have this taste of powdered milk. And they've captured that here as well. I totally get it, but in a really nice, sort of aerated and classy way. And I do like kulfi, and I think kulfi needs to be sweet, and therefore it suits it better in this women's guise instead of the men's one. Longevity is enormous on this, and the projection is really good, and overall quality of the scent is great. It lasts easily a full day and a half. And this is definitely one that I can easily see men rocking, especially because men really like the Noir Extreme version, which is pretty much identical to this anyway. So if you wanted that little bit more sweetness, then you will check out Noir Parfum by Tom Ford. All right, now we're getting into the third batch of 3 fragrances. Third batch of 3? I don't know. I just make up these stupid rules. And this batch is something a little bit different. Okay, something a little bit different. You need to be a little bit more daring in order to want to wear these, you know, I think. Anyway, the first one of which is this one right here. This is Aqua Colonia Myrrh and Kumquat. Now, I've talked about this before. I absolutely like this one. Absolutely like this one. Absolutely like this one. Yeah, because it's not a love because the longevity and the complexity is not there. But again, It's myrrh and kumquat. There's not enough myrrh in here. The kumquat is really nice and ripe and lovely and sweet. Again, it's like the CK Into You for her in that the longevity is not that great. But I do think it is a very nice fragrance. You do need to be a little bit more daring in order to pull this one off. It does go a little bit more feminine leaning than what some men are comfortable with. So you can start off with those and progress with this. It is stupid cheap as well. I think I picked this up for like 14 bucks, and it is a 150 billion milliliter. How many liters is this? Because 4711 in terms of colognes, they do like 1 liter bottles and things like that as well. This is the box. It is a 170 ml bottle, which equates to 5.7 fluid ounces in ye oldie country times who don't use metric system. Terrible people. Get with the metric system. Okay, 170 mils, $14. Really? Is that a decision that needs to be thought about? I don't think so. Not when it smells this good. So yeah, and the bottle is really lovely as well. I do like it. Kind of looks like a whiskey tumbler almost. Anyway, that's that one there. The next one, I wanted to show you a little bit of the presentation of this one because it comes in a pouch, like yay, a pouch, like yay, and it's called Stash. It's by SJP, also known as Sarah Jessica Parker. And you open up the pouch like so, and you reveal the stash inside. And the stash, of course, is to do with alcohol, because this is, you know, a speakeasy. It's a quite boozy one, as a matter of fact. It's a boozy coconut. Now, it's a boozy coconut that is half toasted, not fully toasted, because you can still smell the freshness of the coconut here. And there's a little bit of citrus at the top, but it's barely there. And when you spray it on skin, it disappears really quickly, but that smoky, sort of burnt booziness and woodiness, this is actually quite masculine. But the coconut in here sort of sets it a little bit apart from your typical masculines that don't really involve too much toasted coconut flakes or anything in it. So it's not toasted coconut flakes, it's the husk itself. It's the woody nature of it. And I do really like it on a very cold day. I like to put this on, and I think I've used up a little bit of it. And that's because the performance on this one is actually pretty good. It does project quite well, especially in the beginning after application. So I do recommend this one for a man. And I do know that this has been discontinued. It's getting harder to find, but you can probably still find a fair bit of it around at a reasonable price, because this was one of those hidden gem cheapies for a while. And I think the price might be going up now. So if you can find it still, I think I paid like 30 bucks for this bottle. It's a full 100 ml, full presentation, and it was pretty damn good. So Stash by SJP, Sarah Jessica Parker. Okay, the next one we're going to talk about is the last one in the three of a little bit something out of left field. And that is going to be this one right here. This is Habanita by Molinard. Now, this is the eau de parfum. Now, this fragrance has been around for a very long time, okay? And it's been around for a very long time. And originally, I think it was in eau de toilette form, and they re-released this in eau de parfum form. Now, the fragrance itself, there is a difference between the eau de toilette and eau de parfum. In this re-release, they've made it a bit more masculine, less floral leaning, and they've added this note of mastic, also known as lentisque. I don't know what that means, but mastic is what I call it. It is a gum, it is a resin. It smells very gummy and resiny. It smells like an eraser. It smells like a very fragrant eraser, but it's addictive. You know, once you spray it on, you just smell yourself all the time. And I think it goes great on a black shirt. And I do love the bottle. It's not the original Lalique crystal bottles that these came in. Those are collector's items now, but this is nice, and it's got a bit of a rubberized feel to it. Now, I do think Molinard as a house is really underrated, because they've got some pretty good bangers, especially in those purple bottles that they have, like Queer and Ombre and the rose one, those are actually pretty good. And the vanilla one as well is pretty good. And the patchouli one as well. Lord, they've got quite a few. But this one tops my list in terms of something that has been marketed for women that men can easily wear. This one is an easy wear for a man. It does get a bit powdery, but hey, who doesn't like a bit of powder? No, not like that. Okay, so last batch of 4 now, because I've done 333, and the last batch is of 4 because I've got 13 in this list. And that batch is going to be grouped together in the batch that fall in the love category for me, that I absolutely freaking love these fragrances, and I will continue to wear them forever and ever, amen. The first one of which is this one right here. This is Pure Musk by Narciso Rodriguez. It says Pure Musk for her, but it is not for her. It is for me. That's what it's for. Shit. In terms of a white floral with musk fragrance, I can't think of one that's better than this. Jesus, it's so good. And you know what? It's different. If you just apply it from like a distance and let the mist hit you, or if you apply it from close up and you get a concentrated sort of spray on your skin, the smell is different. And that usually happens on extraits de parfums, because extraits are designed to be sprayed and misted, and you go into the mist, right? Because they need to separate because they're so dense and concentrated. Something you didn't know. But this one acts in pretty much the same way, and I absolutely adore it in the summertime. I haven't worn it in cold weather because I don't reach for this kind of scent in cold weather, but I do think that, I mean, look at the bottle itself. Even it's got nothing to do with milk, by the way, but it's just beautiful tropical floral without the tropes. High quality, long lasting, well projecting. A man can easily wear this, easily. Check it out. The next one I want to talk about, and I haven't taken it out of the box because I love the presentation. I do. And you know, look at this presentation. This is Amouage. This is Interlude by Amouage. Comes with this beautiful box and presentation. Now, most of the time when people talk about Interlude, they're talking about the Blue Beast, they call it, which is, you know, the men's one. But I have smelled the men's one and tested it many times, but I do prefer the women's one over the men's one. And I think this one actually lasts longer than the men's one. Little known, but hey, this is the Blue Beast's mama. Oh God. Oh man. This is like dried, drunken, spicy kiwi in the hot summer sandy sun. That's what it is. And tea leaves and black tea leaves and spice, but not a pungent spice. It's more of a, well, I don't know, a kiwi flavored spice. Absolutely adore it. I know a lot of people don't. The one thing I have noticed with this though, and look, I have worn it quite a number of times, but I haven't really put that much of a dent in it. I don't know if you can actually see that. Focused enough to see that? I can't. Maybe you can. Hold on. I'll get closer. Look. There. In the corner. I haven't put that much of a dent in it because this is one that you shouldn't overspray because you will die. You will die. This one needs to be washed off your skin. And if you don't wash it off, by the 24-hour mark, it smells like BO. Bad BO. Not good BO. Bad BO. For a good 20 odd hours, it smells phenomenal. But then it does something, it does something on my skin anyway, and it turns into bad BO, and I need to wash this off. be warned, be careful, but it is well worth the risk. And I think this is, so far, one of the manliest fragrances in this list. Interlude Woman by Amouage. Next is a classic. It's an absolute classic. It is the original. This is Tom Ford's Black Orchid Eau de Parfum. The original, and still the best in my opinion, because this didn't need to have any performance upgrades or improvements or anything like that. This is plenty enough. Again, I get that chocolatey patchouli with the truffles and the plums in the background, and it really does remind me quite a bit of Christos, and I think that they are very, very close, except this doesn't have any of that chocolatiness in it. It's just pure plums and ripe sort of pulpy fruits. This one does have the same sort of element in it, but it does have that truffle and that earthiness of it coming through as well. So it's got a bit more body, whereas this one's a bit more light. This one you'd wear in a club, going out, blah, blah, blah. This one you would wear anywhere you like. You would wear this to destroy people. This is what this does. It just disarms and destroys people. It is just that freaking good. And the longevity and the power and the way it develops and the way it dries down is killer. Absolutely killer. And if you don't have this as a man, you are missing out, man. This is phenomenally good. Tom Ford, Black Orchid, Eau de Parfum. Please do yourself a favor, even test it out, because it's still available. Test it out before they do something stupid like discontinue something like this, because they discontinue a whole bunch of stuff all the time. Oh boy. Okay, I'm gonna need a bit of a refreshment before I get into the last one, because this last one is probably head and shoulders above all of the other ones that I've mentioned so far. So I don't know if you've watched my fragrance reviews before. I've mentioned it a few times that how much I adore this fragrance, even though I don't really like the house very much. I got to get another bottle of it, and that is this one right here. This is Coco Eau de Parfum by Chanel. The original, still the best version. There is no version better than this. Coco Noir, Eau de Toilette, the Pure Parfum, Coco Mademoiselle, doesn't matter. This is the one. This is the best one. Originally released in 1984, and it smells like it was released in 1984 for a woman of 1984, but in 2022, it's for a man. And it has been for a man for probably the last 6 years. I have no reason why I'm saying this. No reason at all. Just my opinion. This is possibly one of the best scents I've ever put my nose to. Jacques Polge, master perfumer. Full respect. Beanie off to you. I doff my beanie to you like this. For making something as awesome as this. Now, I do need to get myself another bottle of this, because this one is from the early 2000s or something like that. And I've held on to it for a very long time because I'm scared of like reformulations and things like that. But I do think, smelling it recently a few times in the department stores, and that's the benefit of this. And a lot of the Chanel stuff is that when they do reformulate, they do a better job of it than all the other designer houses that are out there. And so, again, kudos to their chemists and everything for doing such a fine job at it. And I have tested it out, and I do think that the newer versions that they have out are just as good as this one. But in terms of longevity and performance, I think that the newer versions might just need to be given some time to macerate. And that's what really happens to a lot of these sort of heavier, sort of more complex sort of fragrances. that they do need time to macerate, to open up, so that they can perform at their peak and smell like they should really smell like. One word of warning with this: if you don't like cloves, if you don't like amber, if you don't like rose, this is not for you. I don't like rose. As a matter of fact, I hate rose fragrances, but in this, it's just so well done. It's a Bulgarian rose as well. It's not a Rose de Mai or anything like that. It's a Bulgarian rose, and it's just so well done. But I think the clove in here just overpowers it. And I'm showing my bias here because I'm a huge fan of like the opium for women, the original opium as well. And that's got a big dose of clove and amber in there too, along with some cinnamon. And this one's got no cinnamon, but I think it's got sandalwood in the base as well. Too good. Too good, as a matter of fact. And I think for a classy, elegant gentleman, this will do just fine. As a matter of fact, I think young dudes can do this as well. Unfortunately, this is not for women anymore. Tables have turned, have they? Yeah, I think they have. I think that this is no longer for women. I think that this now, Coco Eau de Parfum, can only be worn by men. What a strange world we're living in. Anyway, as I said before, and I'll say it again, I'll keep saying, there is no such fragrance as a man's fragrance or a woman's fragrance. It's just what you like to wear and what smells good to you. So wear that, but make sure that you wear it and not that it wears you. Some of these fragrances will wear you. Beware of that. But if you're confident enough and if you carry yourself well, then it will complement a facet of your personality rather than everyone noticing the fragrance and nobody noticing you. So with those wise words, I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. 13 fragrances that have been traditionally marketed for women that I think can easily be worn by a man. There you have it. That's the list. And as always, thanks for watching.